All right. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I am excited to be experimenting with a very new format for us here. My name is Michelle December. I'm the Director of Learning and Engagement at CAM. And you're joining us today for the Gather Movement Workshop. The name for this program takes its name and inspiration from the installation Gather by Rachel Youn, who is featured in this year's Great Rivers Biennial. So I'd like to start by sharing a video with you about this work that kind of takes us on a walkthrough and virtual tour of this work in case you haven't been able to visit us or experience it. Please do come see the work in person if you're able. It's really kind of impossible to get a sense even through just video. So if you're able, come see us before the show closes on February 21st. So let's start our video fly through. Okay. So I wanted to give you some sense of the incredible work that Rachel Youn has made for this installation Gather. In this artwork, Rachel created an immersive environment of kinetic sculptures and sound that envelops us in this buzzing energy. To create this work, Rachel adapted personal massagers that they sourced from Craigslist and Facebook that you'll see have these plastic and artificial plants and flowers attached to them, and they create so much movement. Sometimes this movement is cool and sexy, sometimes it's kind of awkward and floppy and clunky, but they all activate these sensorial memories of how our own bodies move in different spaces. And so you heard a little bit maybe of that soundtrack that's playing through through this space that I want to just mention, since you won't hear it in today's workshop, which was recorded in this space, but without the soundtrack playing. So I just want to point out that soundtrack has kind of two components. The first is of a minister giving it's a Christian church service that a minister is addressing the congregation. And the second track is of a custom music track that was made by the St. Louis group, God's Bod. So each represents these two strands of Rachel's personal experience and acknowledging their body in very different spaces of gathering. The churches that they found themselves in as a child because their father is in fact a minister, as well as these kind of queer music and social spaces. These movements evoke really ecstatic movements of churchgoers or maybe dancing couples in a nightclub. And what tickles me more than anything is that, like the title suggests, these bodies are gathering and moving together in ways that our own human bodies cannot right now because of social distancing and quarantining. But it's thanks to the technology that we can move our bodies today with the help of Arica Brown. So I hope that you'll appreciate today's improvisational movement workshop. You really can dance like nobody's watching. So before we start, I'd like to give an introduction to Arica, who is responsible for crafting today's workshop. Arica is the founder, executive director, and artistic director of Consuming Kinetics dance company based here in St. Louis. Arica has a Bachelor of Art in Dance from University of Missouri, St. Louis, and holds a certificate in somatic studies from Washington University. She is always focused on making dance accessible to everyone. And we worked with her to craft this kind of special, kind of pre-recorded experience for us today. She came in and we spent time talking about the work, and she crafted some improvisational movements that are really available for all backgrounds and access points. It's really meant to be a spot for you to kind of take a lunch break, move away from your device, and really connect with your own body, being inspired by Rachel Youn's installation Gather. So one last thing I just want to mention is that I hope you'll be able to join us for our next First Friday, which will be on December 4th at 4 p.m. We'll be treated to an artist talk from Rachel and celebrating their work further there. So I hope you'll enjoy, get stretchy, and we'll see you in the museum.
Welcome. My name is Arica Brown. I'm the founder, artistic, and executive director of Consuming Kinetics Dance Company, and I'm really excited to be here at the Contemporary Art Museum today to lead you through a guided movement exercise. So I'm going to lead you through a couple of prompts, suggestions, and taking inspiration that I'm getting from this incredible installation that is all around me. And just to be clear, there's no right or wrong way to respond to any of the prompts. So I will provide ideas, suggestions, and I'll keep dropping in and using my voice to guide us into another exercise, whether you're keeping your eyes on me the whole time or just staying present in the space that you're in. Everything is correct. It's just for you to get your body moving, feel good, get grounded, and get connected. So we're gonna start by just standing in a really comfortable position, nice wide stance, long spine, but not because we're engaging and extending it, but just that we're freeing up all of the joints in our body. We're gonna sense the space that we're in. We're gonna tune in to our bodies. Feel where there might be imbalances. Sense where we can use some movement. And then we're just gonna sway and rock from one foot to the other. There's so much swaying happening in this room. And we're just gonna start slowly, shifting, feeling and sensing the weight. And then we're gonna take the image of swaying, but we're gonna change our level, coming down as close to the ground as you want, or we can get all the way down to the ground. Anytime you find a spot in your body that you want to live in, just repeat that motion. Spend more time in the places that need more attention. Start to travel around the space that you're in. Expand your sway, maybe into a shift. Maybe if you haven't already, you want to add some arms. If you're not a dancer and you're not a movement artist, just keep your mind open to expanding your body and pulling your extremities away and back in. If you have any movement experience, really try to push yourself to explore opportunities for movement and make shapes that you've never made before. I also sense a lot of spinning in this room. And spinning can happen quite literally. We can spin our body, and it can happen deeply and internally in other places where maybe people around us can't see or sense, but we feel the spinning inside us. So the next prompt is spinning. Remember, there's no wrong way to experience spinning. So whatever feels good to you. If you're getting dizzy, Try to find spinning inside your body, deeply. Try to find spinning in one arm, finger, foot. And if you haven't already, take your swaying and your spinning experience and really increase your tempo. So if you've been working mostly slowly, just starting to get your body temperature up, go ahead and think at a quicker pace now. Using all the things we've thought about so far, spinning, swaying, deeply, internally, or obviously using our extremities, or obviously spinning our whole body, and move through with quicker pace. Just a few more breaths here. Keep that quicker pace. Now that we have our heart rate up, start to wind back down. And a lot of the objects that the artist uses in this room are devices that are intentionally made to massage the body, help our bodies feel better, feel good, relieve tension in the back or the feet. So we're going to find the opportunities now in our own bodies to be our own massage device. So we've explored swaying and spinning. We got our heart rate up. And as we come back down to a more natural pace, if there's a place in your back that needs a massage, give that place a massage. Because it doesn't matter what the movement looks like, but it only matters what it feels like. If your shoulders are really sore, use the next part of the exploration to give those shoulders a massage. And remember that there's no wrong way. So you could find ways to access the places in your body that need extra attention today that might not look traditional. Someone may not have thought about it. If your feet are sore, then we're going to articulate through our feet. Really give our feet a massage. Maybe we'll press on them with our hands. Same thing with any part of the body. So your exploration here will look different than mine, different than your friend, if they've joined you for the exploration today. So we're going to take several breaths in this space, just finding what our bodies need. You can soften your gaze, close your eyes if you need to. If through your exploration you find other places that need your attention, Now is the time to be intentional with the shapes that you pick and the movement patterns that you follow, to tune into those places. If at any point you'd like to go to the ground and use the floor as a partner so that you can get deeper into the places you're trying to connect to, go ahead and use the floor. If there's stretches that you know can reach the places that you're focused on, then move through and dance through those stretches. Just a few more breaths in this exercise. And now we're going to move to a different part of the exhibit for our next cue. In our next space, you can see this piece behind me that has a very vibrating sensation. So we're going to come away from what we were just doing, smooth and swaying and circular, and we're going to find a vibration in the body. And if this feels weird for you, you can just find a vibration in one part, an extremity, a leg, or if you want, try and send it through the whole body. Finding a way to stand that makes that accessible for you. And this piece is vibrating very quickly, but I'm going to find a pace that works for me this afternoon. And we're going to also, again, go into different levels. So see if you can take your vibrations down, if you can hang out in the middle space before you get all the way down to the ground. This rapid rocking is also really good to get your heart rate up, to create space and fluidity in the joints. And remember, there's no wrong way. And next, we're going to explore this sort of intersection that we have here between a representation of the natural world and all these electronic devices. And we're going to focus in on these natural representations, the flowers, the succulents, and the plants. And here in this space, I'm going to think about those that are around me. If you're working in an outdoor space, tune into the ones that are around you. If you're indoors today, close your eyes, go to a place outside that you love or that you've been to recently, and let your body be a representation of the natural things in that place, whether it be plants running water, grand mountains, grassy fields, sandy beaches. Try to remember what it feels like to be in that space. Feel the air on your face. Sense your connection to nature. And we're going to take several breaths here. Feeling that sense of connectivity that we have with the natural world, even when we're not there, even when we're indoors. Just as living beings. Hear the sounds. Remember the sounds that you love from those spaces. And let those sounds be your soundtrack for your movement. And now, turning our thoughts to the electronics that are in the space around us. So they're more fixed. They don't grow. And try to find the contrast in your body and your exploration between the natural world and these electronic devices that are currently giving my plants in this space life. And sometimes they do really incredible things for us. And sometimes maybe not. I'm finding a lot of angular movements in my study. But maybe you're sensing electronics different in your body. And that's fine. Levels are always there for you to explore. High, middle, low. And now, we're going to find the marriage of both. Just like we have in the space here, the representation of the flowers and the plants, combined with these static devices that can make movement. Add those two ideas together and work through the contrast and find the similarities. As you explore this next section, and also thinking about what does the intersection of that sound like? Maybe when we're hiking but our phone goes off. Maybe when we're swimming with our Apple Watch. Think of sounds that connect these two worlds. And for the final exploration in this space, tune into that soundtrack. One more breath here. And let's find a new spot to explore. In our last section, we're going to start to cool the body down and bring our experiences back in. So if you can find a spot on the ground, if that's available to you, or some place or some position that you feel really grounded, we're going to go ahead and lie on our backs if we can. And we've been experiencing a lot of intersections between the natural and the electronics, and also in the way that these plants intersect in their movement patterns. And finding our extremities and stretching them way out into this X position. We're going to take one arm and cross the body, and we're just going to keep pulling, feeling that really nice ringing in the middle body, breathing into that spiral, and then letting that arm come back. Other side reaches, pulling, winding, crossing, and coming back. We're going to bend those knees, plant those feet firmly down. On our next exhale, we're going to really glue the belly button to the spine. Feel the lower back connecting fully to the floor. If you're standing, find that grounding in the bottoms of your feet. Really increasing that surface contact so that it's not more your balls of your feet, not more your heels, but you're really spreading those toes, finding as much connection as you can. We're going to go back to our rocking or our swaying. sending more weight to one side and then the other. Tuning into our bodies before we move on with our days. And keeping something grounded, whether it's the bottoms of your feet or your back. We're just going to do one final pulling down exploration. Just sort of finding the pathways of movement that are available to you. Maybe your arms imitate the plants in this room. And you're still swaying on the lower body. And when you find a spot that's comfortable to settle into, you'll find the quiet in the body. Recreating the connection that we just made today in our movement exercise. And comparing how we felt at the beginning and how we feel now. My hope is that you feel more grounded, more connected to yourself, and have a better understanding of what your body's needs are and what areas you might need to show more attention. Thank you so much for moving with me today. I hope you've enjoyed this experience. If you haven't come out yet to see this great exhibit, please do. It's really incredible and